fine.
Mr. Chairman, how you liking retired life?
I don't know.
It's pretty good.
Use it all the time.
I'd recommend it, buddy.
Amazing.
You're gonna get up a lot more than now, dude.
Silly question, isn't it?
When I retired, the first thing I done took 4:30 a.m. alarms off all my clocks.
20 years
You
ago,
on the list too.
20 years ago, I had a 16% chance of winning because of cancer. So, there you go.
Got an app.
No, Tamika.
I'm going to call the regular scheduled July meeting to order. We are short Jeff Thompson tonight. He has COVID,
Oh,
so we're glad he's not here.
yes.
He's with us via the internet.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Tamika's
Oh,
there.
good. You are here. They didn't tell me that you were up and on the internet.
I'm watching you.
See? Can't get away with it.
Mick is there too, I see.
Oh, good.
She said she was gonna try.
Good. Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Perfect. All right. Well, then we do have everybody here. That's good. John, would you lead us in a word of prayer, please?
Absolutely. Y'all please pray with me. Dear Lord, we come to you once again this afternoon asking your graces for our community and our organization. Lord, we ask that the decisions we make this afternoon are pleasing in your sight. In his name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, that brings us to item number 2, approval of the minutes from the May meeting. We did not have a June meeting since it was canceled. Everybody had received a copy of that in their packet. Any alterations or changes? Not. Do I hear a motion that they be accepted as presented?
So move.
Second.
Everybody say yay.
Yay.
Okay.
Yay.
Thank you.
I'll bring it to you.
How do we handle this?
He said just get him to sign it next month.
In church, he's been there. Take long to do it.
I don't think it matters too much.
Wrong one. Sign still there. Sign still there. Oh, okay. Make it out to me.
All right, John. Item number 3, divisional reports.
Okay, Keith's going to hit some of the highlights here for us.
From the May reports, they had finished up with setting everything and energizing the electric lines at Lawrence Agriculture Center. The breakers arrived for the Hunter Industrial Park substation. Our annual electric meter testing was performed by the American Meter Program Service, or AMPS. In the natural gas division, main thing they did was they installed about 2,000 feet, which was part of the expansion on Ghost Creek Road for the natural gas lines. And the water department finished up on the hydrant flushing and the sewer maintenance in May, and the Dean Road water tank project was sent to DHEC for permitting. In June, the administrative department, one of the main things was moving over to iView Connect, and that's well underway, and they'll be continuing to convert over to that. That'll help with the financial reporting. In electric department in June, they had labeled a lot of the meter bases and transformers that are 277, 480 volt services. And the mapping system for the electric services is kind of an ongoing thing. In the natural gas department, they put in another 1,800 feet of gas line for the Ghost Creek Road natural gas line extension. And there was a number of employees that worked on the PHMSA natural gas grant for 2024. That was submitted on June 20th. And we had over 300 man hours that went into that grant application. There's more hours than that, but that was CPW pushing. In the water department, they installed the tap for Gibson Grove, the subdivision out on West Main, and they installed the taps for sewer and water at the courthouse that's under renovation. And that's the high spots for the divisional reports from May and June.
Thank you. I did want to make one comment since I wasn't here for the May meeting. I see where our good friends over in Rock Hill have had some issues.
Yeah, they had what their utility director told me, he said was one of the most severe, what they call them, downburst or microburst. He said it had to have been tornadoes involved. I mean, they just tore up a good bit of downtown Rock Hill. They had crews from all over South Carolina, I think a lot from North Carolina to show up to help them out. So, really, and it's kind of ironic because Jimmy Bagley, their utility director, is over the state of South Carolina's emergency assistance program like that. So, in this case, we were all trying to help him instead of in other situations trying to help everybody else. So.
I just thought that was
It didn't hurt the Panther practice facility, did it?
I'm sorry?
It didn't hurt the Panther practice facility, did it?
I don't think so. I don't know about that. He didn't mention it if it was.
all right. Thank you for the divisional reports. It brings us to item number 4, our public forum session, and it looks like we have some public here tonight. And I know we've got 2 gentlemen here and another one back over here. We'll start here. You got 5 minutes. If you just tell us who you are and names and tell us what's going on.
Yes, sir. My name is Keith Taylor. I'm with Sons of Confederate Veterans. This is Fred Irwin. He's my adjutant with us. I'm the commander there. We received a water bill back in April for $2,526. It said we consumed 178,000 gallons of water. Our average bills run about $140. We meet once a month at this building on Calhoun Street, and we meet there for a couple hours. The building's locked up for the rest of the time. And I could fill an Olympic swimming pool with that much water. And there's no way that we could have done that. I mean, we're a small nonprofit organization. We meet there. We take care of all the Confederate graves around Lawrence County. There's over 1,600. And we live off donations. And we do sell hash if anybody's interested. We got hash for sale right now. It's good hash. Jeffrey Tucker and myself made it, and Fred. If you need hash, let me know on that part. But this bill right here, I mean, you can look at our average bills throughout the year, everything at about $100, $140. But $2,409, there's no way. I mean, that's going to wipe us out paying something like that. And I've talked to Dover. They checked the meter. They've went over there. We went in, we turned stuff on, made sure the meter's working. We cut everything off. Meter's not turning. So there's no leaks. There's no nothing. If that much water had run out, that place would have been full of water. Or if it went through the sewer, then we wouldn't know it. But still, your report shows that it leaked from about April 15th to the 27th that it leaked. And there was nobody in the building during that time. And we had a meeting on the 10th, which was a few days prior to that, and we locked up the building and left. So if it was leaking, it had to leak on its own. There was no water outside or anything showing a leak. But what we're here for is to get some relief on this bill. I mean, there's no way we use that much water. Like I say, it would fill the liquor swimming pool.
What sort of a check have we done?
Add one more thing. Let me add one more thing. We've got 3 toilets in this building, and we cut all the valves off for all the toilets before we leave the building every month. So there's no way water could have went through there and went through the sewage by any means. Because we had that problem a couple months prior to that one of the toilets was leaking, so I said, we're stopping this. We're cutting all the valves off on all toilets. So there's no way.
Yes, sir.
It went straight from the toilet into the sewer.
But we fixed that toilet. We paid that bill because it was a little bit more. We caught it, but it was leaking. And we went ahead and paid that bill because we knew we used it because it was leaking. But all the rest of our bills, $130, $140.
We first did a data log, which shows the consumption for the previous 40 days and by the hour. So that's what about 14-day span. We also pulled that meter and tested it here, and it showed to be 100% accurate. So we tried to go back and duplicate the problem, but was unable to do that at the building there.
Y'all have been out of the building.
We have.
I mean, we can't explain it either. I mean, the meters don't typically just show usage and stop. I mean,
We've had, since we put those meters in, a man was in the hospital that lived on Crescent Drive, right, the road going south, past Pitts Welling. His water bill shot up. The lady that lived up here on, West Main in the curb on the brick house came, she was gone and her bill shot up. Masonic Lodge at Watts Mill, they meet one time a month, a nerd went out of sight. And it just seems like me, I don't know how those things work, but it seems like the ones that not use much, they jump up.
well, it's a little bit like the old style odometer in a car. I mean, they don't just jump up and, stop. I mean, I don't know, I can't explain it either.
Why don't you guys take a look into it and see what we can do?
Okay.
That's all. We'll get back to you.
Yes, sir, and you have my number and everything. But that's all we're asking, just a little relief on this, because that's a lot of money for a nonprofit organization. Like I said, we rely on our chicken stew sales and our hash sales and the donations, whatever we can get.
All right. Well,
Thank you, sir.
Sir?
Yes, I'm here to concern about,
Your name, please?
Joe McGowan. It's about an outstanding bill they said I didn't pay. Okay, on 2005, I lived on 200 Lure Street, right? So in 2005, my house burnt down. And then during that time, I guess I didn't pay the bill. But I moved back here in 2021. And then at 200 Watt Street, okay, I had my lights, I had my house inspected on 200 Watt Street, and everything. And then they said you got to take the bill down, Commissioner of Public Works, and I'll get your lights cut off. So I went there, and when I got there, they said, well, okay, Mr. McGowan, you owe an outstanding bill from 200 Lure Street. Thought about it, and I said, you're right. I owe that bill. And it was $221. So I got ready, Okay, and then I said, they said, and then another thing, we will have to give you a $500 deposit, you know, in order for us to get your lights turned on. You know, it was a lot of money, but I had to do it because I had moved my furniture, my lamp to there, you know, I had nowhere else to go, so I had to pay it. I came up with the money. And then I decided, I said, okay, I got all this paid. So, and then I moved from 200 Watt Street to 106 Pickens Street. And when I moved there, I had to get my lights transferred. So I went, got my house inspected again, moved my furniture in there, and came back down to Commissioner of Public Works. And I said, I need my lights transferred. They said, looked in the computer, and they said, well, Mr. McGowan, you didn't pay. You didn't pay for 200, you didn't pay your bill from 200 Watt Street. 200 Lure Street. I said, how can I not pay my bill from 200 Lure Street if, how did I get my lights cut on? And I'm gonna go back. Okay, I moved from 200 Watt Street. After I got everything paid, I moved to 106 Pickens Street. So after I moved to 106 Pickens Street, like I said, I got everything cut on, inspected and stuff. And then the same thing came up again. They said, well, Mr. McGowan, we cannot turn your lights on because you didn't pay for 200 Lure Street. I said, if I didn't pay from 200 Lure Street, how did I get my lights cut on at 200 Watt Street? You know, and it was just bothering to me that, you know, that the same thing has come around again, saying I didn't pay. I don't think no one would let you cut your lights on if I hadn't paid that outstanding bill from 200 Lure Street. You know, and then during that whole time, when I was living at 200 Watt Street, the $500 deposit I put down, you know, one day I looked in the mail and there was a bill in there for about $650. And I looked at the bill again, it was credit. They gave me my credit back. You know, the $500 deposit I put in, they gave it, so I didn't have to pay light bill for about 3 months. Okay, if I owed all this money from 200 Watt Street, why did they give me my credit back? You know, I couldn't understand it. And I know I paid it, and I know they wouldn't let me move into 200 Watt Street without paying that outstanding bill. So and I got ready, and they said, well, Mr. McGowan, we're going to turn your lights on, but you're going to have to pay $77 for the next 3 months plus your bill. So I received my first bill. And last month, it was $78 plus my bill. Then I see the bill this month. My bill was $186, and then they sent me another bill for $96. I don't understand it, and I think someone should look into this because I knew I paid that money because I know they wouldn't let me move into 200 Watt Street without paying that bill at 200 Lure Street. And I can't explain it, and I don't know what system they went through that day or whatever. And I just think I need a reimbursement. I need someone to look into this, see who was working that day, and because I know I paid that bill. So they said for 3 months we'll take out $77. It was all right because I didn't have the money then to pay. But they thought they were doing me a favor, but I guess they did do me a favor because I didn't have no money to pay that bill to move in 106 Pickens Street. Like I say, they would have never let me move into 200 Watt Street if I hadn't paid that outstanding bill. And the same thing came up again. And I couldn't understand it. But they had me mixed up. When I first got there, they had me mixed up with another Joe McGowan. They said that, okay, Mr. McGowan, you already stay in Lawrence. I said, no, I don't stay in Lawrence. They said, yes, you do, because here it is right here on our computer. And they said, well, don't you stay out by the terrace? I said, no, I don't stay out by the terrace. And then they said, and I thought who that was. And I said to myself, that's my cousin, Joe McGowan, another Joe McGowan. So when he went back in a conference, I called him up. And I said, look, man, you gotta come on down here because they fitting to cut off your lights. They thinking you me. So he came down there. I don't know how he came out with the situation. But I mean, to me, this is a no-brainer, you know. How can I move in 200 Watt Street? I mean, how can I move in 102, 200 Watt Street without paying that bill? You know?
You started at Lurie Street.
I started at Lurie Street and
Then went to Watts.
Then went to Watts.
Then went to Pickens.
Then went to Pickens. You know, and I moved in 200 Watt Street. After I paid all that money, I paid over like $750 just to move in 200 Watt Street. You know, I paid the outstanding bill plus the $500 deposit, you know, just to get in 200 Watt Street.
I mean, do we know anything what's going on here? Is this something we need to check into?
Well, we investigated it, and it looks like it was an error made by the CSR that failed to recognize the bad debt when he moved. We verified our financial records, our credit cards, transactions to see his payment that day, and it was only for the deposit. We wanted to make sure that it didn't get applied to someone else's account. And so I told Mr. McGowan if he had any other financial records to show otherwise, we'd be glad to dig deeper into it. But our records show that he only paid the deposit and the connection fees.
Do you have any sort of records from where you paid, receipts or whatnot?
Well, the only receipt I have is in my head, and the receipts I know that I have, I mean, it's not a receipt, but I know they wouldn't have let me move in 200 Watt Street without paying that bill. They would never would let me move in 200 Watt Street without paying that outstanding bill on 200 Lurie Street. There's no way possible. So I knew I paid. Then the same thing came up when I moved on to Pickens Street. We didn't pay the bill for 200 Lurie Street. I said, it's still following me. And I knew I paid. I don't have no kind of receipts. The only receipts I have is the computer that they have in the Commission of Public Works.
Take another look back through just to see if there's anything we've got. And we'll take another look, and then we'll be back in touch with you. Okay. All right. That takes care of item number 4. Item number 5 are April and May financial statements.
Okay, we'll start with the April 30 financial statements on page 6. A little bit better than last year overall. Consolidated loss of $103,458. The electric division, a loss of $80,440. Gas, gain of $17,653. Water, loss of $35,665. And then sewer, a loss of $47,06.95.
Just 1 second. Sure. Y'all are welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, or you don't have to stay, so okay. I'll let you know that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Total asset budget is on page 11. 43% through $300,000. However, we are, especially last month and this month, starting to see a lot of expenses come in, especially in the electric for Hunter Park, Station, and Gibson Grove subdivision. So cash flow is being monitored closely with those things going on. On page 14 is our O&M and G&A budget totals for April. We were 6%, $146,000 under budget, and $520,000, 4.9% for the year to date. I'll be glad to try to field any questions about the April financials.
How many electric meters did we get?
The tanless meters.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're expensive. Those were the polyphase.
Anybody have any questions on the checks over 1,000? Not, do I hear a motion that the financials be accepted as presented?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Voice of God.
All right, that brings us then to the May financials.
Okay, so for May, not a very great month either. Actually a little worse, and worse than last year too. Consolidated loss of $161.57. The electric division had a loss of $31,000, so they actually did a little bit better than this time last year. Gas, $98,000. Water loss of $27,000. Sewer, $4,500. We did have a kind of a one-time expense that allocated to all the departments. That was a cleanup behind Martha Frank's with years and years and years of dumping debris and road, asphalt, dirt, you name it, it was out there. I think we do have a better plan going forward to handle that. We don't have such a big expense at one time, but all these departments got a little chunk of that cleaned up. On page 11, our capital asset budget, like I said, we are still well under budget for capital assets. We do have a lot of large business coming, especially under substation. We're starting to see a lot of transformers come in now and wire and that we've ordered last year. So things are starting to come in. And, page 14 is our O&M G&A. So far, we're looking really good on our operating budget. We were 0.85% over budget for the month, and we are 3.8% under budget year to date. So we're managing our expenses very well so far. Also, I just want to give everyone a heads up to, in the next month or so, we'll be probably coming to you with a revenue bond proposal for the next few months, and that'll cover the water project, you know, the SCIP grant that we got. There's about $3 to $4 million that won't be covered by the grant. The project exceeds the grant funds. Also, some of this residential development and commercial development will be tied into that one covered bond. Just want to kind of put that on your radar.
I see we transferred City of Lawrence 2 months. I thought I saw last month we did 66,000.
That's right. They do.
May and June, is that what we did, or?
They get a monthly city transfer. Are you looking at? It's over 1,000.
City.
2 months went out in the same. They got the July. I mean, the May one before month end. It actually cut the check.
Okay.
Just a timing issue. Leslie didn't like it.
Well, I've just seen in April where we paid them, and I said, wait a minute, we're nice, but I'm not sure we're that nice.
That's okay with me.
I'm not sure we're that nice either.
Anybody have any questions about the checks over 1,000 for the month of May? If not, do I hear a motion that we accept the May financials as presented?
So move.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
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 That's unanimous also. All right. That brings us to item number 6, approval of the 2023 financial audit.
Okay, you all heard in the May meeting, Bailey came and gave us a little presentation. I think everything was, as far as the accounting goes, everything was fine. They didn't find any problems with anything. Hopefully y'all had a chance to look through some of those. I know it's not most interesting reading, but,
Yeah, I just put it on my comment also.
we just need a motion to approve it.
Any questions or comments on the 2023 financial audit? If not, do I hear a motion that we
So moved.
Second.
all in favor say aye.
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 Unanimous. All right, that brings us to item number 7, recommendations to approve rate adjustments based on comprehensive rate analysis. Before we get started, I just wanted to let people know that I saw today where Duke's request for an increase for their South Carolina customers was approved today. And as of August 1st, they will be hit with an 8.7% increase. That's, for somebody using 1,000 kilowatts in a month, that's over a $12 a month increase. Then again, in August 1st of 2026, they're gonna get another 4.3% increase. So that's a 13% increase in 2 years.
Well, thank you for setting me up there, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, if y'all recall, back in May, we had Dan Casbaum from UFS Utility Financial Services. They have been going over all of our books for, gosh, several months now. When did they actually start that process? Yeah, a year ago. And that's where they take each utility and they look at all of the accounting, all of the expenses, everything that we've got that the CPW has to pay on a yearly basis, and they look at how much revenue that we get from each one of our rate classes, and they make some recommendations. And as you recall, at the May meeting, he did say that there's some rate classes that we need to make some adjustments in. Fortunately, in the natural gas division and the sewer division, he said we looked okay, that we don't need to make any changes there. However, in the electric division and the water division, we need to make some modest increases. So I think Kayla included in your package the list of all of the different rates involved there, and I apologize for the condition of the one that she printed out for here. I can barely read it, but all of the electric rate and all of the water rates and the lighting require some rate adjustments according to our analyst. And, we've got a lot of different rates that cover the residential, commercial, and industrial. However, for purposes of this meeting, I'm just going to mainly focus on the residential. But Kayla included in your packet there kind of what these recommendations will do for us. An average CPW customer, we figure, is around 1,000 kilowatts a month. And so that average customer, their bill right now for 1,000 kilowatt hours just for electricity is $146. And what we're proposing is my notes mixed up here. Is a 1.2% increase to be effective August 1. And what that'll do is that'll raise everyone, the average customer, about $1.65 a month, or $19.80 per year.
How many kilowatts is that?
1,000 kilowatt. That's, you know, not a huge house and not a tiny house. It's just kind of something in between there. On the water side, the average customer, we feel like, uses around 5,000 gallons per month. Currently, they're paying $49.25 for that 5,000 gallons. And this rate analyst recommends that we increase that 2% to where they'd be paying $50.40, which is $1.15 per month. So if you will add those two together, a customer that purchases water and water and electricity from us, their bill would go up $2.80 per month. And just to kind of give you a little more background information, the last time that we raised the electric base rate was in 2015. I had a sticky note on it somewhere. Anyway, you know, we've done everything we can to try to keep rates down, but as I guess everybody here knows, the price of everything that we do has gone up significantly, and we're kind of at that point where there's really not a whole lot of cost cutting that we can do to try to make up the difference. And I think Blake and his team and Keith and his guys out in the field have done a very remarkable job to try to keep expenses down and try to keep a handle on these increases in prices of everything from services to materials and everything that we buy. You know, rather than starting, you know, you just saw the financial report for April and May, and, you know, we're kind of treading water here, just barely keeping our head above water. So we feel like it's very important that we go ahead and pass these recommendations. Also, I got her to include something that we keep very close tabs on is the U.S. Energy Information Administration. They publish a couple of times a year the average price for electricity in all 50 states. And I just included this on your in your packet here. And as you can see, the state of South Carolina, the average electric rate is 14.88 cents per kilowatt hour. And what we're proposing is significantly less than that at 13.1 cents per kilowatt hour. So we're substantially less than the state average and the national average, I might add. So South Carolina's kind of right in the middle as far as electric rate of the United States. So, and of course, that'll probably go up now that Duke Energy's announced a pretty significant rate increase there. So if anybody has any questions about any of these documents or any of this, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Duke's rate for per thousand going up $8.16 or something like that.
It's going up
After 1,000 kilowatts.
$12.06 a month.
That's all we need. That'd be when it goes up, both of them go.
No, that's just that's the one August 1st. No, it's 8.7% August 1st, over $12 a month it goes up. And then it'll go up another, what, $6.75 in 2 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's, you know, considering what we've been going through with the pricing, I mean, everybody knows what the situation is with pricing. And the problems we've had, you know, getting transformers and quadrupled in price and everything's gone up. I mean, I think this is just a little over 1%. That's pretty amazing. And,
well, again, you know, kudos to these two gentlemen here for doing everything they can, from the field reps to the folks that work in the office, to try to do everything we can to reduce expenses and utilize what we have instead of, you know, going out and buying new stuff. So.
How's our overtime? Are we keeping overtime under control?
Yeah, you know, there are times when we have to use overtime, but yeah, we do a pretty good job of managing that.
questions?
Can we hold off to October to go up? I mean, I ain't go up middle of what everybody's going through right now.
Well, if we hold off to October, it'll be even more. I mean, you know, it's better when you're increasing rates to do just little bits here than wait like Duke and have what was the percentage?
8.7.
I mean, I think the customers appreciate $1 more now than maybe $5 a couple of months or a year. The more you put it off, the higher the rate will have to be.
They look at our total operating expenses, and then they look at our capital plan for the next 5 years, and it include some assumptions like inflation and that kind of thing. But if we don't start taking these recommendations, then we're going to have to start getting into our reserve sooner and sooner and sooner, which is not, we've got a nice nest egg built up. We want to be able to protect that and have plenty for the future and not get back into a smaller number of days cash on hand like we used to be.
And, I want everybody to understand the fact that, the bills will be higher because of the heat that we've had the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks. That's not reflective of the rate. The additional expense for that average customer is about $2.80 a month, but, I'm sure there'll be many of them that'll misunderstand and think because their bill went up, it's because the rate went up, but it's because we've had this heat wave come through and air conditioners are working longer and harder, and it's going to use more electricity, which drives up the cost. That's the reason why we don't typically like to do this this time of year, but unfortunately this time we feel like it's necessary.
My June bill, I think last year I used about 600, I used 1,100 this month. I mean, we didn't have any 90 degrees in June like we're having, so.
Right. I was in my car yesterday and it said 98 degrees, so it's really been hot.
All right, any other discussion? If not, do I hear a motion that we accept the rate increase as presented?
So moved.
Second, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, thank you. Okay, item number 8, executive session. We've got 2 contractual matters involving PMPA and Lawrence County Water and Sewer. Wow, who would have thought? Do I hear a motion we go into executive session and return to the call of the chair? Second. All in favor say aye. Aye.
I don't anticipate anything afterwards.
Aye.
I have to say something, if I may. We traveled out to Kansas City and back, and